How do you make a strange attractor? How do you play the Illuminati card game? Once a certain amount of anchors are in place, a potential future, crosses the line from some degree of probable into absolutely inevitable. Now understand, these anchors need to be set in advance, temporally speaking, with foresight into what will trigger them and when. Think of these forethought future anchors as stepping stones to a desired future. The more of these anchors are hammered down, the harder it becomes for other paths to intercede and change the end result. Think of it like an intersection of several streams. The one that carries the most power is the one that continues in its trajectory. When, however, the encroaching future is close enough to the present to create an event horizon for that attractor, destiny walks into place. I would say destiny is something that can be created. With a fourth dimensional awareness, it is nearly inevitable to create destiny. And of course, this mystery is of the highest order. This is hyperdimensional chess. Deep into time, space, chaos, and the strange attractor. And of course, 5D chess. So, when we're aligning segments of the metaverse, we're thinking of how that widespread popularity is going to take place along points of time in the future. That's what an attractor is. So let me explain it this way. You have a puzzle you've been working on for years. It's beautiful, but it's incomplete and the picture is not self-consistent. Basically, that's humanity all the time. We are born to subject ourselves to an incomplete understanding in order to develop acuity and discernment in every sense of that word. Well, what happens before you finish a puzzle? At that precise moment you perceive or discern where the last piece is. As soon as you have that insight, that discernment, that epiphany, at that exact moment, you have already changed the structural dynamics of the space-time continuum, at least insofar as you, an agent, are concerned. That means you don't have to wait until the point that you actually go and use that puzzle piece before you knowing where it goes changes the future. At the point in which you have solved the puzzle, you going and implementing that solution, the timeline's already been changed by that exact moment of insight that you had. And that's what I mean by an atemporal attractor. So this means, yes, those sentiences are not trudging muddily through a linear experience of narrative birth and death and interminable transience. So what they are literally looking at is a system of relationships which is dynamically maintaining the homeostasis of every morphogenetic component. That means our aggregate, our collective, must keep itself in a geometry that maintains consensus realities for all conscious inhabitants bound to that material space. But beyond that, you can play all the hyperdimensional chess that you want. The archetype of the lightning sword, with respect to the glass cannon archetype of video game magician. So let's extend to the absolute limit what a glass cannon is capable of. So a glass cannon would be sort of a damage dealer which is extremely potent, but when it's not being used is basically passive, has no force. But You take that glass cannon, and basically, let's say that you have a weapon which once a month can do almost anything, so long as you've fostered the right atmosphere, the right conditions. That's what you get when you create a strange attractor. That's what the butterfly of the butterfly effect really is. It's a sword that works once in a blue moon, but it can shatter any container. And it can only be wielded by a master of timing. That's why we are chaos aficionados. Make no mistake, this is brand new. It's emergent. We are discussing and discovering its properties as we go along. So, both the eyes in the sky and the eyes on this terrestrial surface are still and all equally invested in creating this new form of science and magic. This butterfly magic.